Portugal is one of Europe's economical places that has so much to offer. It has a rich maritime past, and was once continental Europe's greatest power. Portugal's landscape is characterized by olive groves, vineyards and wheat. Its cold, rocky northern coast and mountainous interior are sparsely settled, scenic, and wild, while the country's south, the Algarve, is warm and fertile, known for its many splendid seaside resorts. When someone mentions Portugal, a few things come to mind: port wine, Lisbon, seafood, but Portugal is much more than that. There are many reasons to visit Portugal. Let me give you my top 10 for you to immediately want to know more about Portugal and perhaps organize a visit. Number 10. Évora. Declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site, it is certainly one of the most beautiful cities in Portugal. Its white houses with paved patios and crenellated terraces make it similar to an Arab Medina, but they huddle around the Roman Temple of Diana. Its university is one of the most beautiful in Portugal. It has a harmonious Italian-style Renaissance cloister with wonderful azulejos. Subscribers to my channel can be invited for free walking tours around different European historical centers. So, make sure to subscribe to my channel now. Number 9. Sintra. If you love unusual places, bizarre destinations and surfing, Sintra is perfect. It is a small town surrounded by a forest a few kilometers from the sea. Its magnificent historic buildings, including the spectacular and unmissable Palácio de Pena, within the Sintra-Cascais National Park, will enchant you. Sintra is now a UNESCO World Heritage Site overlooking the Atlantic Ocean, famous among surfers for the size of the waves. Praia Grande is the best-known beach in the area. Don't miss an excursion to the Sintra-Cascais National Park. It is divided into two parts: the agricultural area, where fruit and wine are grown, and the area with beaches, cliffs and dunes. Costelo Dividing. The small town of Costelo Dividing is one of the gems of the Alto Alentejo region. Here a jumble of red-roofed, whitewashed houses clings to the side of the lush slopes of the foothills of the Serra de São Mamede. The old quarter has been described as one of the best preserved medieval towns in Portugal, and it sometimes feels like life may not have changed much here since those days. What the town might lack in grand monuments, it more than makes up for in ambience and charm. Costelo Dividing is of Arab and Roman origins, and it is dominated by a wonderful castle. You will feel like you are stepping back into the Middle Ages thanks to the intertwining of its narrow alleys with whitewashed houses. 7. Nazareth. It is perhaps the most famous and most picturesque seaside village in Portugal. In Nazareth you will find fishermen with black caps mending their nets, oxen pulling boats ashore, wives sitting on street corners with colorful scarves on their heads, flounced skirts and clogs who rent rooms for a few euros, gigantic portions of prawns and crabs in the fish restaurants, colorful beach tents to shelter from the strong wind. Beautiful. Mass tourism has certainly affected the change of this location, but the narrow and downhill alleys, the cliffs and the breathtaking sunsets make it an unmissable destination. Douro Valley. The Douro Valley is home to the river Douro, the third largest river in the Iberian Peninsula, which runs for 897 kilometers from the Spanish town of Douro de la Sierra to Porto, Portugal's second city. The Douro River and the Douro Valley are known primarily for port, a sweet wine that has been produced here for 2,000 years, along with less well-known red and white table wines. The Douro Valley can be accessed by roads that zigzag up and down the steep hills, although it is probably easier and certainly more scenic to travel by rail or boat. The Linha do Douro is one of Europe's great rail journeys. The spectacular landscape is characterized by improbably steep terraces covered in vines and dotted with wine-producing farms called quintas, where it is often possible to get a bed for the night. The Douro Alto was made a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 2001, in recognition of the spectacular beauty of both the natural and built landscape and the industrial heritage associated with the port-producing industry. The Douro Vinheteiro is a microclimate where olives, almonds and grapes are cultivated. Number 5. Algarve. Dominated by the Arabs from 711 to 1250, this region retains a Moorish charm in its architecture and local cuisine. Thanks to the mild climate all year round, its splendid crystal clear sea and the beauty of its landscapes, the Algarve is besieged by tourists during the summer. Praia de Marinha ranks among the 5 most beautiful beaches in Portugal. Sagres is decidedly picturesque. It is framed by a wild stretch of coast, a series of deep bays, windswept headlands and stormy seas. This corner of the Algarve is remote, isolated and certainly little visited by tourists who invade the coast. Lagos has wonderful beaches and magnificent bays hidden among the rocks of the bizarrely shaped cliffs. Cabo de São Vicente is one of the magical places in Portugal. The Romans called it Promontorium Sacrum. It was the place where the gods consulted on the fate of mortals. A truly magical place. Number 4, Porto. Porto, also known outside Portugal as Porto, is a city where nightclubs and restaurants blend harmoniously with cathedrals, churches and museums. Porto can be easily explored on foot. In recent decades there has been a rebirth of the city and the buildings, streets and squares have been restored. On the other side of the Douro River you will find the town of Vila Nova de Gaia, home of port wine. Famous port producers such as Coburn's, Taylor's and Sandeman offer port and wine tasting sessions. Wine tasting and port tasting courses will be available soon on Skillshare. So make sure you subscribe to be notified about these classes. Azores Islands. 9 emerald islands in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, the Azores are one of the last naturalistic paradises in Europe. Ancient craters, crystal clear lakes, lush vegetation, ever-present whales and dolphins. Simply marvelous. The archipelago of the Azores is considered by many to be what would remain of the mythical continent of Atlantis. The volcanic origin of the islands is the main reason why they turn out to be so wildly interesting. Ancient craters occupied by splendid lakes, black cliffs that flow into the ocean waters, rugged mountains, springs of sulphurous waters, fumaroles, a harsh and often inaccessible world, embellished by the extensive fauna that grows throughout the year. Lisbon. Lisbon is probably best known for its colonialist history, ornate architecture and tradition of fado music. But some of its best features are in the everyday, spectacular hilltop vistas in Alfama or at St. George's Castle. The Museo Nacional de Arte Antiga has an enviable collection of European masters, including Durer, Andrea della Robbia, and a haunting triptych by Hieronymus Boschia, as well as treasures from Portugal's former colonies, which once stretched from Brazil to East Asia. If you feel peckish, head to the Pastelaria São Roque, which has been serving up typical Portuguese pastries for decades. Number 1 spot goes to Madeira. Although this island is closer to Africa than it is to Europe, Madeira Portuguese. A 4-hour flight from London and Paris, this stunning subtropical island is often compared to Hawaii for its volcanic landscapes, rugged coastline, and botanical wonders. Some of the many reasons to visit Madeira include stunning scenery, natural lava swimming pools, world-class fireworks, amazing flora and flowers, and extensive array of fruit. Don't forget to subscribe so you will be notified about our free walking tours and other special offers. See you in my next video.